Hello and welcome to another episode of the Bygone Times. I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to take a look at this pair of soapstone bookends. Before we dig in and kind of look at the details of these bookends in particular, you might want to know a little bit about soapstone. Of course, there's a lot of information available online. But basically, soapstone is a metamorphic rock somewhere in the talc schist range of rock. That makes it soap soft and pliable, and carvable, which is why you'll often see it carved into figures and various useful forms like bookends. Soapstone is also heat resistant and it's very good at storing heat, and so you'll see it used historically and even today in things like warming stones or soapstone. You'll see soapstone ovens or stoves. So it's a pretty versatile stone, and it's found pretty much everywhere around the globe. There are probably places where it's not too prevalent or not accessible, but mostly it's everywhere. Around the turn of the 20th century, so the 19th century, 1800s going into the 1900s, a lot of Victorian era art was done by carving soapstone into intricate patterns, and much of that work came out of China at that time. And so it is with these bookends, and these are quite heavy. And you can see they're more or less mirror images of each other, although since they are hand carved and pretty old, there are a few differences here and there, slight variations in the openings that you see and maybe in the detail of the leaves, but pretty much they are mirror images of each other, so that when you stand them up, you can put books between them. And here's what they look like kind of on the shelf. Of course, the backs of them are smooth. You can see a little bit of a shine there from my natural light coming in the window here in the room with me. Same here. And let's see, most of the time when soapstone sculptures came from China in the early 20th century, China was hand stenciled into the soapstone, and that's the case here. You can kind of see this. It looks like a little scratch there on this bookend, and it is. I'm trying to see if I can get it the right way. I think that's the right way. But it's very ornate, and so each bookend has kind of a shelf here, and then on the shelf is a planter and a fancy plant coming out, just carved right into the stone. And so there's the natural striations and variations in the soapstone itself. There's a little bit of kind of pinkish brown hue on that end, more of that brownish coloring here on the back, kind of a vein of beige green type stone there. And then this one is much the same. There's a chip there and a little bit of brown, red splotchy down through here, just the natural coloring of the stone. Same deal, a shelf with a pot and a plant, and the back has a mixture of brown and green and red, kind of marbly looking, softer than marble in general. The carving can be done in many different ways. You see a lot of folks these days do figure carving into soapstone with kind of little picks and hammers, like you might see an old-time miner use. But again, it's very carvable. It was very desirable when the Victorian era furniture and stylings really came into fashion in the antiques world in the 70s and 80s. These might have run, I don't know, $100 or so for the pair in the, let's say, the mid 1980s. I doubt they would be worth anywhere near that today. I haven't actually looked for their values for these particular ones, although I might want to at some point. I would guess they're somewhere in that $50 to $100 range, although you could probably get them cheaper, if you ran into them at an auction or a garage sale or whatever. But because they're soft, they're also susceptible to chipping, and especially this very intricate work. So this one's chipped on the end, probably been dropped or really banged into. But anyway, there we have a pair of soapstone bookends. I hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you next time.